Good evening and welcome back to Northern Ontario. My name's Dave and this is McCarroll Siding, my in-skill layout. We're going to do some boring today. What we're going to do is create a little diorama that's going to go inside the quarry for a borehole machine for explosives. So I'm just going to switch over and you can see there she is sitting on a little raised platform. And we're going to do several different things to make it look like it's a realistic activity. The model itself is from CG Traders. I purchased the model, then reduced the scale down to N scale, and she runs about 15 feet wide at the shallow end, a little wider at the front. And I think if I take this ruler, she is 45 feet tall, so it's quite the big machine. So I started looking at doing this, and I thought to myself, well, what do I know about quarries? I know nothing about quarries. I mean, I live near Sudbury, but that doesn't mean I know anything about mining. So I went to the internet, and of course, it's all sorts of stuff is available. So here I have something called a firing pattern and stemming column adjustment enhancement blast performance at a lime quarry. And it's, I think it's 5 pages long. And it's got 2 charts in it, and the charts tell me exactly what I need to do. So the diameter of the holes is 102 millimeters. Now on N scale that's tiny. I mean, there's no way I'm going to convert that. The depth of the holes, or the height of the bench, which is what this platform is here, is supposed to be 9 meters. Well, it's not 9 meters. It's again, let me grab that ruler. She is all of about 15 feet tall. So about 3 meters. So we're going to pretend that they finished on this level and now they're going down another 9 meters to start working on the quarry. It also tells me that the number of rows I need is, if I'm doing a blast, a certain blast, I'm doing 4 rows, and each row should have 43 holes in it. Well, I'm not going to push 43 holes in this, but we're going to make it look like she's done a bunch of work here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull the machinery off the bench, and I'm going to just talk about it for a second. So this is just a standard blue insulation foam that you can buy at any good hardware store. I get it from my local home hardware. And what I've done here is I've covered it with 1 millimeter cork. Now I bought a batch of this. I must have 20 sheets of this stuff. It's great for roads, it's great for surfaces, and so what I did was I glued it down here with Gorilla Glue, their wood glue, not their expanding stuff, and got it ready so that what we're going to do here is I'm going to punch some holes with some T-pins. So I'm just going to start punch holes. Trying to figure out, does it tell me how far they have to be apart? Okay, this one says it's a diagonal pattern, so we may have to think about that. And it tells me the total weight of limestone to be broken, and the powder factor, and the boulder count, and the front end cycling time, and total dozing time, and the throw and the drop in meters, which is how far this stuff gets thrown around once it goes boom. So I'm just going to take these pins and start spacing them evenly apart in a diagonal pattern. what we're going to do here is we're going to stop that right there, so the pattern will be there. So now I'm going to go here again and line them up. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put some tile grout on this so that it looks like a rock surface, and hopefully when I put on the grout, we can make little hills around each one of these pins, so it looks like the dust from the boring of the holes. So here we go. And here we go again. We'll get close here. Let's put one right there. Put one right at the edge. And one right at the corner. So what we'll do is when we place the machine, we're going to place the machine here, like that, so that it looks like he's completing this row. All right. We have a very shallow angle of approach, which would also be blasted away when they do it. So now we have all of these in place. What I'm going to do is get some Mod Podge here and a brush, and we're going to cover at least this much of it for now with Mod Podge, and then sprinkle on the grout. Now what I've got here is went to of course my favorite modeling store, the dollar store. And I got one of these little sieve things. It's got a screen on the top, and it's a little crunchy. And we've got grout inside there. You can see I've just spilled some on the table here. Right. So now this stuff is very fine. So I'm going to try and not have it ballooning up all over the place and me breathing it in, because that's not a good thing. Then what we're going to do is once that's set, we'll put more Mod Podge on and do the rest of it. But I want to work just on these, where these pins are, so that if it's possible, just pull the pin out and have it leave a little pile behind and still be able to hold on to this. So we got I've got Mod Podge mat here. I also got a big tub of this in gloss, but I use it for water, not for for creating waves and stuff. But the matte stuff is just fine for this. Now, oh, there she is. There's the brush. Originally, I was going to use toothpicks. For these holes, but they are almost triple the diameter of these pins. And so I think for scale reasons, the pins make a better deal. They also have a nice little handle that make it easy to pull out. So here we go. We're going to take the Mod Podge. Now I'm going to wet the brush. Got water here, just to get, and there we go. I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to now I use these two pins for almost everything when I'm modeling, holding bits and pieces together, holding track down while the glue dries. They're a wonderful tool, and they're dirt cheap at the dollar store. With some, on some occasions, I've used cut the heads off these things and made chain link fence using either a fabric or a very fine mesh screen. I was able to find some really fine mesh screen on Amazon. I bought one package and realized it wasn't as fine as I thought it was. But it still can be used for things like metal railings. You cut it, you spend hours with nippers cutting, and you can cut off the heads and then very carefully glue them together. So here we are. You sort of see that the Mod Podge is sort of building up around the outside of these pins. So I'm just going to put the brush back in the water here, just so I can use it again later. And here we go. I'm going to cover the Mod Podge because I am sometimes clumsy and I don't want to spill that all over the place. So here we go. So just gentle. I've got two pieces of paper down here. I've got a paper that floorers use to protect your hardwood floor after they're finishing installing it, and clumsy carpenters still have to walk on top of it. So it's a very heavy, thick paper. So here we go. There's that covered, and I'm just going to pick this up. I'll just shoot back over to here. I'm going to pick this up and go over here and tap. And there we go. There's the coverage. So I'm going to pull pins now, and we'll see how it looks. So we do actually we're getting holes. But you know what? I'm not happy with that. I want some real build-up. I don't think these machines leave. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the Mod Podge, and we're going to put Mod Podge on the pins, and then we'll see what we can do. So, and for years I've always used the floor, and the floor as a way to dry brush. Especially when you got a concrete floor. It doesn't make any difference. So now, let's see if we can stir that up a bit, make it a little thicker. So I'm just, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to get, I think, hold on, let me just, I'll just step out of here for a minute. And where's that package? As I said before, because I'm the only one who works down here, but nobody comes down here to play with any of my tools or any of my stuff. So I can almost always find something. So I'm going to get rid of the brush here and put it back in the water. And I'm going to use an eyedropper and put it just at the bottom of each pin. Make a little hill. Now what may happen here is that when I pull on the pin, the Mod Podge comes with it, and that's it. We're toast. But let's see what happens here. Well, they're not the same, which is good, because I doubt that the boar dust would be the same on every single hole. There we go. Now this is just going to get, once I've got the rest of the quarry covered in my own sculpture mold and stuff, this is going to slide into a corner, and then we're going to put sculpture mold down this side, the side where the ramp is, and the side over here, because that's going to be in the corner. And on the outside, we're going to treat that today with some decorative garden gravel. Well, first, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. There we go. Oh, missed that one. Missed this one. Come on, burst. That's it. And let's see, I got So again, this is just an experiment. Like I say, this railroad is an experiment. It's an experiment saving money. The dollar store helps solve that problem most of the time. Come on. That's it. There we go. Now it does seem to be soaking down into the grout. I'm just going to keep going here until I get little hills at each one of these. And maybe should have sprayed some isopropyl alcohol in here, but I think we're doing fine. We're doing fine. Like I say, like for most of the Quarry vehicles, I got them all from CG Trader, and I mean, again, it's not a free site. You've got to pay for these things. But I found that the detail that the modelers have used is more than enough that you can, like I said, take the dimensions and scale it down to N scale, and it works quite well. Now sometimes, like even on this thing, there's a lot of fine detail on this. But there's a couple of places where, when I was taking off the supports, I kind of banged around the railings and stuff. But what I'm hoping to do is, I've got a bunch of brass industrial railings, etched brass, and I'm going to glue the railings on where they belong on this particular machine. So there we have the holes all done. I don't know, what does it say? How long does it take to... 30 minutes? Holy cool. Cure time, 4 weeks. I hope not. Dry in 20 to 30 minutes between coats and stuff. Okay, so we're I guess cure time means completely cured. So while that's happening, I'm going to finish this and this with grout. So again, need my brush. Get rid of most of the water. Get rid of the rest on the floor. And pick up the brush. Whoa! Much heavier coating this time. Now the second piece of paper I have down here is parchment paper, so that this Mod Podge doesn't stick to the tabletop. All right, so there we go. And once more, take this and patiently tap it on. I don't really want to put too much, but now this, the color of this grout is called charcoal. And I've got 3 bags of it. I've got 2 bags that aren't even open. And I've got 1 bag that's open, it's sitting here. I've got it in another plastic bag because it was leaking all over the place and wasn't exactly a non-messy surface thing to play with, because it was always dropping bits of grout all over the place. So now I'm going to give these. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. So there we go. That's that done. And again, I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to come over here and dump it. And oh, David, my big fingerprints. Get a towel here. We'll fix that. So now we have a really rough gravel texture, and we have our drilled holes. So what I'm going to do here is, I've got, again from the dollar store, this is called a jar of gravel. And it was $2. So I'm just going to take some of this and put it on top. And I'm just going to grab some isopropyl alcohol and see if we can set this a bit. I know exactly where it is. Go on over here. Slight misting of isopropyl just to see if it helps stuff run down into the so. Oh, I love the smell of isopropyl alcohol. Jeez. So you can see that that's got quite a bit darker. And all right. So the next thing that I wanted to do with this was to glue some rock along this edge, and this edge with my hot glue gun. And so we're just going to spin this around. This is going to get a little tricky, I think, but we'll see how it goes. And for this, I have this. Let me see if I can get that in camera here. Right there, that should be good enough for you to see. This is decorative stone for your garden. Put around the base of your flowers and stuff. I have a 22-pound bag of this stuff out in the garage. And it's about the right size for blast effect stone. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand this up, and I'm going to put my 1, 2, 3 blocks either side of it to keep it standing up, and we're going to work along this edge here. And so I've got my handy dandy glue gun. Now this is a cordless. It has a, when you put it back in its stand, it charges. When you take it off, it's obviously it's working. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold this, and I'm going to squeeze some glue. So welcome back. It's the next day, and there have been a couple of changes here. I found some lighter grout in the garage. I didn't realize I had it, and it's really helped sell the feature that I wanted this to have. So what I did after I shut down yesterday, I finished. You saw me start. Well, you sort of saw me start gluing these rocks on, and I realized I never switched the camera over so you could see me. So I'm editing that portion of the video out because there's no point. There's nothing to see. It's just me talking to you, and there's, you know, like I say, there's nothing to see. So what I did was we put these rocks on these surfaces, and these are not the finished surfaces. This is just the start. I thought it'd be easier to put them on here, and then once it's in place, I can add more to create a slope with rock and gravel and stuff around this. And as I said yesterday, this is going in a corner of the layout, so it's probably going in the far left corner. So it's going to be situated like this, and it's going to be up against the plaster castings on this side and on this side. The other thing with this grout I found out in the garage now is, if you take a look, you can sort of see little craters where the drilling machine has done its work. So I put on some more isopropyl alcohol, I put on more Mod Podge, and then I started to sprinkle this stuff on top, and so this is pretty well done now. We can move on to finishing the sculpt mold inside the quarry, which I've been lazy for, and we'll just keep going on. And I'm quite happy with the way this looks. You can see a little curve here. Well, that's where he decided to drive the machine up to start drilling another row here. So that's it for today. I'm glad you watched. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe, great. As I've said many times, I'm doing this for my own enjoyment, not for anything else, just to share what I do. So anyway, here we go, and I want to thank you for watching today.